Everyone, Greg here. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but I've had a good amount of requests lately to post something. I think with everyone being at home a lot more due to this coronavirus, that people are spending more time with their fish and just maybe looking to improve or look for ideas on how other people manage multiple tanks in an efficient manner. So today we're just going to go through the rack of 55-gallon tanks behind me, and I'm going to show you just a new way I've been changing water on that rack. The two tanks on top are being used currently to gravity fill the 4 tanks below. Now these 2 tanks previously had fish in them, but I just emptied the fish out and the sponge filters, and now they're just used as essentially water storage vessels. So that's been working pretty well and has freed up 100 gallons of water so that I can use that on this rack of tanks. So it's gravity fed and gravity drained, but I can also use a siphon to clean out the particulates on debris on the bottom of the tanks with fish. So let's just go through that today. I'll try to include any information and what I think might be relevant to the setup that might be intuitive to me but might not be to you. So hopefully this is a one-parter. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, so I might do a drain drain video as part 1 and then a fill-up video as part 2. So we'll see where we are when the time comes, based on how much time YouTube lets me post the max amount of time YouTube lets me post videos for. So let's get on with that right now. Okay, so we're gonna go through these 6 tanks. As you can see that there are fish in the bottom 4 tanks and the top 2 are empty. I've been using these top 2 tanks to fill up these 4 tanks, like I previously said. Let me turn the lights on so you guys can see. Alexa, turn main lights on. Alright, so now that we have the lights on, see the fish are going to drop to the bottoms of the tanks as they get a little used to the light. We have some debris on the bottom of these rearing tanks. I'll show you how I incorporate gravity draining and manual siphoning to take the care of these tanks. And don't forget, I also have these 2 drums here that have pumps in them that will fill up these tanks as well. But just wanted to show, if we didn't have these 2 tanks, how you could have 2 storage vessels above your tanks below to use as aged water and condition it as you would like to. So hopefully it's relatively easy to see, but there is piping behind these tanks and they go into all of the tanks. It's kind of hard to see, but here is the main hub. As you can see, I have them labeled for the tank. So these are the top 2 tanks, the middle 2 tanks, and then the bottom 2 tanks. We accidentally configured the bottom 2 tanks to be right-left instead of left-right, so that's something I'm just always aware of. And then at the bottom, there's a main drain valve. Let's see if I can see it. There's a main drain valve right there, right at the bottom. And that main drain valve runs behind all of these tanks. So right here, there's another valve I can shut off if I want to. We drilled through the wall. And then one of these pipes leads out of the house and drains. As you can see, there is a little bit of a lush patch of grass there from where the water has been hitting over time, as well as a little hole from the erosion. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to drain the tanks. I like to start with one layer at a time. The top, middle, so assume this is the top layer of fish tanks and this is the bottom layer of fish tanks, and this is the storage vessels. This layer will drain, this will drain the fastest because it's at the highest point due to gravity. This will drain at the middle speed, and then this will drain the slowest. So you can start with either the slowest or the faster tanks for draining, but that's up to you. So I'm just going to start with the middle. I'm going to open these valves. And open up the drain valve on the bottom. You can see we have 3 valves open. These 2, water is coming from here, coming into this pipe, down the drain pipe, behind the tanks, like I said before, out this wall, and if you can see it, I'll go outside. Sorry about that. You can see it's draining. A little river right here. These tanks are going down already. I have on my tanks, if you can see it, a mark here and a mark here to indicate the 50% level. There are also marks at the 25% level and the 75% level, so I know what I'm doing. And these are going to drain. While these drain, I'm going to explain something up here. In these tanks, they're not pretty, I know. You could cover them up with something if you like, if you decide to use this. But I have aeration and a heater on the bottom. And this pipe here is where the water will go into and up and down. And it's connected to these 2 valves right here. I keep the heater on the bottom because the water will only drain to this point in the tank. You could raise or lower that as you wanted, but if the heater's below this exit port, the water will never go below. Therefore, your heater will be always covered by water and won't burn out. Same thing goes with this tank. The only thing I add to this tank, these 2 tanks up here, are CChem safe, and that's it. I heat them up to 28, 29 degrees Celsius, and that is pretty much matching. You can see here, this is the top tank, that's the storage vessel. This is the middle tank, that's the tank I'm currently draining, and this is the bottom tank. I have them labeled on the right because over on the other side I have the left. So top left, middle left, and bottom left. I'm going to stop these real quick because I want to clean the bottoms. I'm going to stop the water. I'm going to start the drain on the bottom 2 tanks. So now the bottom 2 tanks are draining. These 2 have stopped. I'm going to manually siphon them out. I have a pretty good pump that cleans these tanks, but you can do it by hand and bucket if you really want to, if that's what you have. Bear with me with the sound real quick. Open up my valve. Got lots of valves. I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me. Alexa, turn suction on. Going to try to get most of it. Probably going to end up taking a little bit more than I wanted two out because I drained it a little too much. But you can always fill it up with tap water or any other water you have. Sorry, I'm trying to do this by looking at the camera and the siphon. Alexa, turn suction off. I'm going to go into here. This tank. Alexa, turn suction on. Just a vacuum, basically. And this is also draining outside the house. This is the second pipe that you saw on the screen, next to the drain pipe. Again, I'm doing this with just one hand, so I'm not being as meticulous or as clean about this as I normally would, because I'm not usually holding a camera, but we'll do our best. If I wasn't holding the camera, I'd probably get all of it out of here, but just gonna do this for now. Alexa, turn suction off. Alright. So as you can see, I went below the 50% line a good amount and a little bit here. So we'll deal with that later. And these two tanks are currently draining. So we'll let them finish up. I'm not going to clean the bottoms right now, but I'll do that another day, probably tomorrow morning or something. So as those two drain, I'll just turn around and show you some stuff that's going on here. Lots of stuff in the fish room still. Actually, more stuff than ever. I just changed these guys' water, so they're a little mad at me. I've been moving right next to them. That's some new lights going on. These are all adults. And then all these guys I have for sale. A bunch of people are interested in them, so hopefully when COVID lessens, I can move them out of here. Make room for some other stuff I want to focus on. Alright, since I over-drained these two tanks, I'm going to stop these two tanks. Close the valves, close all the valves. And open up the top right and the middle, sorry, in the top left. And these two valves are for those two tanks. So when I open them, the water now can come through these. It's not going anywhere because all the valves are closed. But when I open this valve and this valve, now the water is coming from here into this pipe, main pipe, and then going down this, and it's flowing into the only direction that it can go, via gravity, which is these two pipes, which is connected to these two tanks. So water is flowing from here down pipes and into these tanks. Let's see if the water will show. You can kind of see the water moving, not too much. Basically all this stuff is moving around because there's water coming in to this tank. So again, the water is coming through this pipe, down into here, where it is flowing down into here, the left, and it is coming through here. And the water is coming down, 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 out this port, and it's filling up these tanks. it's probably hard to notice or see how the tanks are being filled right now, but they're going up. Going up. The reason I don't, just with my setup, is open up those two to be filled is because if you have all of your tanks open, then everything's going to go to the lowest point, which means that even this tank, these two tanks, could drain into these two. So it's just best to fill, and at least with my setup and the way the PVC is rigged, is to fill up one row at a time. Fill up this row, and then this row, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter which one you fill up first. It's all up to you. Just to keep things a little shorter, I'm going to close this tank and just fill up this tank just to show you it going a little faster. I'm closing the right side. And now just the, now this side will be filled up and this side is stopped. You can probably already start to see the difference. Remember, the left side is going up, right side is staying the same. It's a slower process than you do with pumps, but you don't have to use pumps if you don't want to. So that's a benefit. You can noticeably see now that the left is higher, and it will continue to go higher until it is filled. Once it's filled, I'll turn off the left side, fill up the right side, and then I'll fill up the bottom. I don't feel the need to show you all, just for the sake of it, just filling up. You get the picture. I hope you can see these two storage vessels are now emptying. So what's going to happen is when they are drained, I have a way of filling them up with a hose, well, actually through the PVC, that same PVC piping apparatus that you saw. But if you have don't have that, you can just fill them up by hand with a hose or however you want. With my way, currently I have these bins here, which I can turn on with a pump. This one's empty right now, but I'm going to fill this up, turn the pump on, open this valve, just connected to this drum, so water's going to come. So water enters the tanks through here. Water enters, comes in, pumps at the bottom, and then pumps it. When I turn the pump on, it comes out through here, down, 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 down. Open this valve, and then when it comes through this, works down the same pipe. It's connected to the same apparatus, so it comes down here. Sorry, goes down and then comes back up. And then whichever tank I want to fill, I just turn the valve. So to fill the top two, I would keep these open and water would go this way, then the opposite direction. And fill would come in here and fill the tanks. As you can see, now the left tank is full. I'm going to stop that. Then open the right side. Now this side has stopped filling, and this side will proceed to fill. I hope that that is at least something to tide you over until I figure out a more discus specific video. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks again.